Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share something that has the power to completely transform your life. Not just a little, not just for a short time, but in a way that will affect every choice you make, every dream you chase, and every challenge you face. The topic is simple but profound. I will teach you how to think correctly. Your mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seeds you plant in it will grow, whether they are seeds of success or seeds of failure. The first key to thinking correctly is understanding that your mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. This is not just a motivational statement, it's a psychological truth. Your brain is constantly absorbing messages from your environment, but the most influential voice it hears is your own. Every time you say, "I can't do this" or "I'm not good enough," you're reinforcing a belief that limits your potential. Over time, these repeated statements become your reality. Not because they are true, but because you have programmed your mind to accept them as true. When you tell yourself something over and over, your subconscious mind starts to filter the world through that belief. If you believe you are unlucky, you will notice every setback and ignore every blessing. If you believe you are capable and resourceful, your brain will naturally look for opportunities, solutions, and paths forward. This is why positive self-talk is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a mental environment where success has the best chance to grow. Your thoughts are instructions to your brain, and your brain responds by finding ways to make them come true. This also means you must become very intentional with the language you use in your own mind. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you can say, "I'm still learning how to do this." Instead of "I always fail," you can say, "I've learned valuable lessons from my past mistakes." This shift in self-talk changes your emotional state, and when your emotions change, your actions change too. People who think correctly understand that the way they speak to themselves directly impacts their behavior and outcome. It's also important to recognize that repetition is the secret weapon of belief formation. Just as a muscle grows stronger the more you exercise it, a thought grows stronger the more you repeat it. That's why daily affirmations, journaling positive intentions, and visualizing success are powerful tools. They help rewire your brain to believe in your abilities. Over time, the mental barriers you once had begin to fade, replaced by a stronger, more confident mind. Of course, thinking correctly doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means telling yourself the truth in a way that empowers you. You might not be where you want to be right now, but that doesn't mean you'll never get there. By choosing empowering self-talk, you're not ignoring reality, you're choosing to shape it. Your thoughts are the foundation of your actions, and your actions shape your results. If you change the way you talk to yourself, you will inevitably change the way you live. The bottom line is simple. Speak to yourself like you would speak to someone you love and believe in. The moment you make your self-talk intentional and uplifting, you will set in motion a chain reaction that can transform your mindset, your choices, and ultimately your life. Questioning your assumptions is one of the most powerful habits you can develop if you want to think correctly. Most people move through life accepting their thoughts as facts simply because those thoughts feel familiar. They never stop to consider that many of the ideas in their head were planted there by other people, parents, teachers, friends, society, or even the media. Over time, these borrowed beliefs form an invisible framework that shapes decisions, limits possibilities, and determines how someone interprets the world. The problem is that not all of these beliefs are true, and some can be deeply limiting without you even realizing it. When you fail to question your assumptions, you allow outdated or false ideas to control your life. For example, you might assume you're not a math person because of one bad grade years ago. That belief may stop you from pursuing careers or opportunities that involve numbers, even though you could easily improve with practice. Or you might assume that success is only for certain kinds of people because of something you observed growing up. This kind of thinking closes doors before you even try to open them. Correct thinking, however, demands that you challenge these mental barriers. To start questioning your assumptions, you must learn to pause and examine your thoughts. When a belief comes up, ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it based on solid evidence, or is it just a story I've told myself over time? Does it help me grow, or does it hold me back? This process turns you from a passive thinker into an active thinker. Someone who doesn't just accept mental noise, but filters it through reason and truth. One of the greatest benefits of questioning your assumptions is that it opens the door to new perspective. The moment you realize that a belief is not absolute truth, you gain the freedom to replace it with one that serves you better. For example, changing "I can't handle challenges" into "I can learn to overcome challenges" with the right strategy instantly shifts your mindset from powerless to capable. You're not lying to yourself, you're simply recognizing that your old assumption was incomplete or misleading. This practice also protects you from being easily influenced or manipulated. If you accept every idea at face value, you become vulnerable to adopting harmful beliefs that others push onto you. But when you develop the habit of asking questions, you become mentally independent. You no longer let fear, gossip, stereotypes, or peer pressure dictate your thinking. You decide for yourself what is worth believing. Ultimately, questioning your assumptions is about mental freedom. It's about refusing to be trapped by old stories and instead choosing beliefs that align with your values, goals, and truth. When you master this, you gain control over your mind, and when you control your mind, you control your destiny. Questioning your assumptions is a skill that separates those who grow from those who stay stuck in the same patterns. Most of the beliefs you hold today did not originate from your own careful thinking. They were passed down from parents, absorbed from your community, shaped by culture, or formed in moments of strong emotion. Because these ideas feel familiar, you may never stop to ask if they are actually true. This is where many people go wrong. They live their entire lives following mental scripts that were written by someone else without realizing they have the power to rewrite them. When you don't question your assumptions, they become invisible limits on your potential. Imagine believing you're bad at public speaking simply because you stumbled once during a school presentation. That single event becomes a fixed truth in your mind, even though it's just one experience. Or think about how many people assume success is only possible with extraordinary talent or luck. That belief stops them from even trying, so the assumption ends up fulfilling itself. This is how unchallenged thoughts can quietly sabotage your goal. To break free, you must treat every belief like a hypothesis, not an absolute fact. When a thought crosses your mind, step back and ask, who told me this? What evidence do I have for it? Is it possible I've been looking at this the wrong way? You'll often find that the foundation of the belief is weak or outdated. Once you see that, you can begin replacing it with a thought that reflects reality more accurately and more usefully. This doesn't mean doubting everything to the point of paralysis. It means thinking critically and intentionally about the ideas that guide your life. If a belief serves you and helps you grow, keep it. If it holds you back or discourages you, it's worth examining and potentially changing. For example, shifting from "I'm not good at learning new skills" to "I can improve any skill with consistent effort" completely transforms how you approach challenges. The first belief shuts you down, the second propels you forward. By questioning your assumptions, you also protect yourself from being easily influenced by other people's fears, biases, or agendas. Many people accept popular opinions simply because they're widely repeated, but repetition does not make something true. When you develop the habit of analyzing what you hear, you become mentally independent. You stop letting others do your thinking for you and start building a worldview that is your own. In the end, questioning your assumptions is about reclaiming control over your mind. It gives you the freedom to choose beliefs that align with your vision for life, instead of blindly following patterns set by your past or your surroundings. This habit not only makes you a better thinker, it unlocks possibilities you may never have realized exist. Once you master it, you'll find that your path forward becomes clearer, stronger, and entirely your own. Focusing on solutions instead of problems is a mental shift that can completely change the direction of your life. Most people get trapped in cycles of overthinking and worry because they spend too much time replaying what went wrong, who is to blame, or how unfair the situation is. While it's natural to feel frustration when problems arise, staying in that mindset drains your energy and keeps you stuck. The longer you focus on the problem, the more it grows in your mind, until it feels bigger than it actually is. Correct thinking means acknowledging the issue, but then quickly redirecting your attention toward what can be done to resolve it. When you fixate on the problem, you train your brain to look for obstacles instead of opportunities. This creates a mindset of helplessness, where every challenge feels like a wall you can't climb. On the other hand, when you deliberately focus on solutions, your mind starts working creatively to find ways forward. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What can I do right now to improve this situation?" That small change in the questions you ask yourself can dramatically affect the quality of answers you find. Solution-focused thinking doesn't mean ignoring the reality of the problem. It means you spend less time describing it and more time acting on ways to fix it. For example, if your business is losing customers, you could spend weeks complaining about the economy or your competition, or you could start brainstorming new marketing strategies, improving customer service, or finding ways to add value. The problem is still there, but by focusing on solutions, you take control of the outcome instead of waiting for circumstances to change. This way of thinking also helps reduce stress and anxiety. When you dwell on problems, you feel powerless. When you work on solutions, you feel empowered. Even if the solution takes time, the very act of taking steps toward it gives you confidence and momentum. You begin to see yourself as someone who can handle challenges, which makes you more resilient when new ones appear. It's also important to remember that the first solution you think of might not be the best one. Solution-focused thinkers are flexible, they generate multiple possibilities, and are willing to adjust their approach when needed. They see setbacks as part of the process, not proof of failure. Every problem becomes a learning opportunity, a chance to grow and adapt. In life, problems are inevitable, but being stuck in them is optional. By training yourself to think about how to fix a situation rather than how bad it is, you create a mindset that moves you forward. The more you practice this habit, the faster you'll turn challenges into victories, and the more you'll trust yourself to handle whatever life throws your way. Thinking with a long-term vision means making decisions today with your future self in mind. Many people fall into the trap of chasing short-term comfort or instant gratification without considering the long-term consequences. They choose what feels good in the moment, even if it sets them back later. This could mean spending money instead of saving it, avoiding a difficult conversation instead of resolving an issue, or skipping opportunities for growth because they require hard work. While these choices may bring temporary relief or pleasure, they often lead to regret and missed opportunities in the future. Correct thinking requires stepping back and asking, how will this decision affect me a year from now, 5 years from now? When you think long-term, you begin to see the bigger picture. You understand that the most meaningful rewards in life often require patience, discipline, and sacrifice. For example, studying consistently over months leads to better career opportunities, exercising regularly improves your health years down the line, and investing wisely builds financial freedom over time. None of these benefits happen instantly, but the people who enjoy them are the ones who planned ahead and stayed consistent. This kind of thinking also prevents you from making choices you'll later regret. If you only consider how a decision feels in the present moment, you might ignore potential consequences. But if you imagine your future self looking back, you gain clarity. Would your future self thank you for this choice, or wish you had acted differently? This perspective helps you avoid destructive habits, protect important relationships, and invest your energy in actions that truly matter. Thinking long-term doesn't mean you can never enjoy the present. It means you balance enjoyment with responsibility. You still celebrate small wins, take breaks, and enjoy life's pleasures, but you also stay committed to the bigger goals that will shape your future. It's about aligning your daily actions with the life you ultimately want to live. One of the challenges of long-term thinking is that the rewards are often delayed, while distractions and temptations are immediate. This is why so many people give up before they see results. To overcome this, you must train yourself to value future benefits as much as, or even more than, present comfort. Visualizing your future in vivid detail can help. Imagine what it will feel like to achieve your goals, and let that motivate your daily action. In the end, long-term thinking is a form of self-respect. It's recognizing that your future self deserves the best life you can create. Every small choice today is an investment in the life you'll live tomorrow. When you think with a long-term vision, you stop drifting aimlessly and start moving with purpose toward a future you'll be proud to call your own. Training your mind daily is just as important as taking care of your body. You wouldn't expect to build physical strength by exercising once and then never working out again, and the same applies to mental strength. Correct thinking is not something you achieve once and keep forever. It's a habit that needs constant practice. Without consistent mental training, old patterns of fear, doubt, and negativity can slowly creep back in and take control of your thoughts. To think correctly, you must commit to developing your mind every single day, just like an athlete commits to training for peak performance. One of the most effective ways to train your mind is by feeding it with positive and constructive input. The books you read, the videos you watch, the conversations you engage in, all of these shape your thinking. If you surround yourself with negativity, gossip, and complaints, you are programming your mind to focus on problems and limitations. On the other hand, if you read inspiring books, listen to educational podcasts, and spend time with people who challenge and uplift you, you strengthen your mental resilience and expand your perspective. Daily reflection is another powerful tool for mental training. Taking a few minutes each day to review your decisions, analyze your progress, and identify areas for improvement keeps you aware of your thought patterns. This practice helps you recognize when you're slipping into unproductive thinking, so you can correct it before it becomes a habit. It also reinforces positive choices, making them easier to repeat in the future. Visualization is another technique that can make your mental training more effective. By imagining yourself succeeding, overcoming challenges, and achieving your goals, you train your brain to expect success rather than failure. This mental rehearsal prepares you to respond with confidence when real-life challenges arise, combined with affirmations, short, powerful statements that reinforce your strengths and values. Visualization, reprogram your subconscious mind to support your growth. It's also important to challenge your brain regularly. Just like lifting heavier weights builds stronger muscles, tackling difficult problems, learning new skills, and stepping outside your comfort zone strengthens your mental capacity. The more you expose yourself to challenges, the better your mind becomes at finding creative solutions and handling pressure. Finally, remember that mental training is not just about adding positive habits, it's also about removing destructive ones. This means reducing your exposure to negative influences, limiting mindless scrolling on social media, and avoiding environments that encourage laziness or defeatist attitudes. In essence, training your mind daily is about building a mental environment where correct thinking becomes your default setting. Over time, the effort you put into this practice compounds, giving you greater clarity, confidence, and control over your life. Just as you wouldn't skip meals if you wanted to stay healthy, you shouldn't skip the daily nourishment your mind needs to stay strong. Correct thinking shapes your destiny because every decision you make, every action you take, and every path you follow begins with a single thought. The quality of your life is directly linked to the quality of your thinking. If your mind is filled with fear, self-doubt, and negativity, you will naturally make choices that limit your potential. But if your thoughts are guided by clarity, confidence, and purpose, you will move toward opportunities that lead to growth and success. Your destiny is not determined by chance, it's shaped by the consistent direction of your thought. When you think correctly, you create a mental compass that keeps you aligned with your goals. Even when challenges arise, this compass helps you navigate through uncertainty without losing sight of your destination. People who achieve great things are not free from difficulties, they simply approach problems with the belief that they can find a way forward. That belief starts in the mind and influences every choice they make. The link between thinking and destiny becomes clearer when you understand how thoughts lead to actions, and actions lead to habits. A single thought like "I can improve myself" can lead to small daily actions, reading, practicing, or seeking advice, which over time form habits that build a stronger version of yourself. Those habits eventually shape the opportunities you attract and the life you live. The reverse is also true. A thought like "I'll never succeed" can lead to inaction, missed chances, and a pattern of giving up, creating a future that matches that belief. Correct thinking also influences the way you respond to setbacks. Life will test you, sometimes in ways you don't expect, but your mindset determines whether those tests break you or build you. When you train yourself to think constructively, you see obstacles as temporary challenges rather than permanent roadblocks. This shift in perception keeps you motivated to keep going, even when progress is slow. Another important point is that correct thinking helps you see possibilities where others see limitations. Opportunities rarely arrive with a clear sign, often they appear disguised as hard work or uncertainty. If your thinking is narrow or fearful, you will overlook them. But with an open and optimistic mindset, you can recognize potential and act on it before others even notice it's there. Ultimately, the thoughts you nurture are like the seeds you plant in the garden of your life. If you plant seeds of courage, persistence, and vision, you will harvest a life filled with achievement and fulfillment. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and resignation, your life will reflect those choices too. Correct thinking is the foundation upon which your future is built, and if you guard it carefully, it will lead you to a destiny you truly desire.